Welcome to this week's edition of Trade Theory. It's Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. This is the dollar index. The dollar index is up over the week at 98.39. We have a demand level from here from the 24th of March. So prices bounced off of that level. And I'm looking at a daily supply level at 98.68. So I'm expecting that at that point, price should continue to fall further. And I staked out a daily demand level, should price fall further, of 96.76, which would be the next downside target. So any assets that you have that have correlations with the US dollar, just consider that and move accordingly. Okay, we're going to move on to the 10-year Treasury yield. And let me put this in here. The computer's going a little slow right now, so bear with me. The 10-year Treasury is hovering around the level that I mentioned. I think it was 4.19-ish. So we're going to pull this up and see what's going on there. Demand for Treasuries is starting to wane, obviously, because there's bullishness in the equities market. But here we are. This is the 10-year Treasury prices at the 4.29 area of interest from the 7th of April. And we have a change of sentiment level if yield gets to at or above 4.32%, then I would consider that yields may continue to rise. Not right away, maybe after 2 or 3 days of depression, they may go higher. But on the other side, I'm looking at, depending on where price closes, if it doesn't close up where yield closes above 4.32, I'm looking at yields to fall back to the 4.19 to 4.21 level that I mentioned on the 7th, so about 2 weeks ago. So right now, price is setting up for that, or yields are setting up for that. Forgive me, I generally trade equities, but trying to speak to people who are in the bond and in fixed income markets. And so this is where we're at, and we're looking to see if we don't get that change of sentiment above 4.32, expect yields to drop to 4.19 to 4.21, which I think is most likely because of the way the stock market is going. And I will share that here as evidence with Tesla, Nvidia, and Bitcoin. Okay, so this is the Tesla chart. Tesla has actually reversed and has started to move north. So what we have here is price has started to it broke our area of interest from the 2nd of March at 385.77. It's retreating to there because there's going to be a complex pullback most likely, which is what we're experiencing right now. And then on the downside, we had the supply level, it blew through there at 371.89, and that's when people, I think, had resolve about the market. So we're at the point to where you could buy Tesla and not be concerned about anything it going against you unless it gets below 338.48. So at this point, Tesla may turn out to be a buy. I'm going to watch price here and see if it's stalled out. It could pull back to this level of supply, 371.89, before we get there. So no rush because it just changed sentiment. So you don't want to get on too quickly. Just give it a chance to play out. And then if you want to buy, then buy at a good entry point. Okay, Nvidia is rising as well. And so this is one that's actually kind of just held up regardless of what was happening in the markets. But it really shot higher, and I would expect that it could pull back as well, just like Tesla. It went through our upside area of interest from the 14th, 90.56, which means that I'm bullish on it over the long term, over several weeks. And so, matter of fact, let me pull out to the weekly chart here and see what I wrote. I'm sure I put some notes out here on the weekly chart as it relates to this. Okay, so this may be a demand level. So I'm looking at price possibly pulling back to 191.69. And then if it really had a deep depression down to 181.26, both of which would be buying points. I'm also, I think 195.56 would be a buying point because that's the most recent area of the change of direction and change of sentiment. So definitely we'll look for maybe another day of possible downside, but looking to buy Nvidia now and to expect it to play out for a period of time on the high side. If it starts to drop, like I said, you have those levels to actually get more shares, because if you loved it at 200, then you're going to just adore it at 180, right? So anyway, moving on to Bitcoin. Bitcoin has risen as a result of a lot of the equity markets, but I believe that it's actually a fake out. It's actually a pullback for a continuation down. So I want to acknowledge that as well. So we had the daily pullback point from the 6th of February, which is eclipsed now. Price is starting to rise. It was moving down, but you can tell when events changed globally, this has all kind of been marked out. So we do have another supply level at 85, 635, 36. I'm not saying to do that. I think that this actually is starting to lose momentum, so I'm not expecting price to get there. But if it did, I would be actually looking to short Bitcoin at that point and not buy any more of it. So if you are a buyer of Bitcoin, be mindful, because I believe that this may be a pullback just for a continuation lower. So just kind of giving you where I am. Price is still not really done anything significant. Is maybe put some pressure on, if you had a sell trade here, or you definitely the selling trade down here, put some pressure on that. But your stop loss level was way higher anyway, so above 107. So at this point, this trade shouldn't be bothering you unless you really went hard on your lot size. So anyway, moving on to WTI Crude, that is depressed a little bit and started, I think, to move up. It hit our daily demand level of 82.80 back on the 24th of March. So we're looking for price to potentially continue actually lower, but before that, look for price to potentially try to recapture the 96.86 supply level before falling further. So let me look at the weekly chart to see how oil is looking. I know it's been through a lot. So it's at this daily demand level from the 24th of March. So price could continue to rise here. We had a weekly pullback on the 16th of April, which would be great for a lot of people. But this is a solid level here. So I would not try to bet against oil and short it. I would actually, if I was going to do anything, look for an opportunity to get into this trade and ride it back up. No further than probably 96.86. So this is definitely more of a short-term situation. But I think as it relates to oil specifically, a lot of situations right now from a trading standpoint should be or are probably most better served to be short-term trades. All right, moving on to the gold. Gold is having a hard time reaching that higher level that I mentioned. It's actually starting to decelerate. So I put a downside area of interest of 46.76.75. That should price get down there, then you could expect gold to start to collapse. But it actually, at that point, I'd watch price action on a lower time frame and see if it's going to confirm that low, or if it's going to reverse and it's resetting to go up to this daily supply level of 5,044.86. I'm thinking that people are probably going to move away from gold and start to get into more higher risk assets. So this actually makes sense, but not until it closes below 46.76.75 would I say that gold is really set up for a potential continuation shorter. Okay, moving on to the US 30, which is the Dow. The Dow and the indices have moved up significantly. This downside area of interest from today is 49.123. So that's an area where you could potentially add to a position, a long position. We have a possible reset zone of 47.961.81, meaning that price could pull back to that level before continuing higher, legitimately. And then it blew through our supply level from the 31st. So people are really bullish on the markets right now. So on a weekly level, we would probably, price could pull back to that level as well, 48.7, 48.69. But right now that area is significant. Where we at right now, the daily downside area of interest, 49.123. You could legitimately buy into there and feel confident. But I would wait for a pullback. That's just me. I'd wait for this reset to happen. If you're trading, if you're obviously for the long haul, this doesn't mean anything for you, but I would be eyeing that reset before trying to add to this position myself. Because if you got here, this was I think I'd mentioned that was a technical long, so you would have wanted to, at that supply level where it turned into a demand level, you would have wanted to buy and caught this ride up. So right now you want price to kind of decompress a little bit so you can get in at a better price, obviously. And then we're going to look at the last two. Got the NASDAQ and then follow that with the S&P. So the NASDAQ here, it blew through our area of interest as well. So this is officially long-term kind of bullish. It's actually closer to the take profit point from February 10th of this year, before we kind of had the month of March, which kind of threw some things out of whack. But we had 27.02310 as our target for take profit. So that's looking like that's in play. This area of interest right here, price could pull back to there before going higher. So I watch over the next couple of days and maybe look for next week to take a long interest in the NASDAQ if you want to add to your position. Let me look at the weekly chart real quick. So it's moved up significantly. So be mindful of that. Price, may depress a little bit before going higher. But I think that the fact that it's going back to the all-time highs is a good indication that we're going to probably continue to go that way. So, but we want to watch to see if we can get an efficient entry, because I expect price to fall before it goes back higher. Okay, S&P 500. We had another high that was made. Our area of interest was 6978.59. So that may be the area where price retreats to, where you want to look at possibly adding to your long positions. And then let's look at the weekly to wrap this up. Just shot up a straight V up here. So that retreat would be probably a good entry point. And then you'd have a lot of downside that you could play into there before, really being concerned about this. So everything is looking bullish in the equities markets. Like I say, off of a pullback, I definitely would see that that'd be a good opportunity to get in on these indices as well. And I hope this is helpful. Until next time, enjoy the day and happy trading.